We don't need it.
We're just riding in hot.
I love it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Michigan and Trumbull podcast. I'm Alex Freeman. We are live here on the YouTube while the Tigers are playing the Arizona Diamondbacks. Just a little timestamp for you. It is the bottom of the fourth inning. 2 outs. Runner on second, who appears to be Dylan Dingler, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
With Matt Vierling up to bat. The Tigers are up 3-0. So business as usual in Detroit. Nothing to worry about, nothing to talk about. Right, Luke?
Nothing to worry about, nothing to talk about. Definitely don't look at the things I've been tweeting for the last 9 to 10 days. Just don't worry about it. Don't reference any of the comments I've made in the group chat. Don't call in my father for a witness for some of the things I've said to him over the phone about how I think this team is doomed. Everything's great. As they say, winning cures everything. And shout out to Andy Ibanez, back up today after Parker Meadows goes on the aisle. Reese Olson also goes on the aisle, probably for the year, maybe some postseason pitching, but definitely done for the regular season. But Ibanez gets called back up. Double, home run. The left-handed pitching killer is back once again. So welcome back, Andy.
It's like he never left. It's like
he never
left. We also got Kerry back up with the club.
Yep, finally back after his stint on the IL after a few weeks.
And Matty V,
that a boy, Matt. Man, that who's that? Alec Thomas, I think, in center for the Diamondbacks. He has had a rough game. He has had a rough game in center field tonight.
It starts with the hair, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll take it, though. Always nice to see, you know what, really nice for the Tigers to rough up Eduardo Rodriguez because, man, I know we shouldn't be petty because it's now almost 2 seasons ago, but after the whole trade deadline debacle, after he had some personal issues and the Tigers helped him and then he just opted out. I understand he had the right to opt out, but, man, he's gone to Arizona and he's just been pretty much a bowl of spoiled grapes. And, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean the only downside is that we didn't get anything for him at that trade deadline.
No, we did not. So,
which I guess can kick us into this conversation.
Yes,
let's start with the Reese Olson news. Obviously, Reese is going to be done for the regular season, but the Tigers did pick up a little bit of pitching support from the Minnesota Twins. That's been it's the most recent piece of trade news. Luke, thoughts on these acquisitions?
Well, to me, it's first of all, the Reese Olson news is a real bummer. Obviously things have not been well, all jokes aside, the last 2 or 3 weeks of this ball club. It's been a pretty atrocious month of July for the most part. Losing streaks, just sloppy competitive play. You get that big win yesterday against Toronto, and you think maybe it's kind of a tide turner. And then you're kind of kicked right in the nuts again when you're losing probably your second best pitcher in the rotation behind Tarek Skubal. That's a bummer to lose Reese. It really is. And then obviously Parker Meadows going on the IL too, while not for the rest of the season like Reese. Also kind of a bummer because if you watched that game yesterday, he had a couple of big hits. And, there's something about Parker Meadows. I feel like when he is locked in and clicks, this entire team is locked in and clicks. Now, you can make an argument that's not really the case because they played so well they did in the first half without him for the bulk of it, but I digress. So the Tigers got today and they traded for Chris Paddock from the Minnesota Twins. He's going to slide into that kind of 4th or 5th in the rotation. And I think it's a totally fine move. He's a rental piece. It feels kind of reminiscent of back in the days of getting a Jose Urena, a Tyson Ross, an Ivan Nova, a Francisco Liriano. Kind of one of these inning eaters guys who's going to come in and he might be successful. He might not be. Let's see if Chris Federer can maybe turn him into a Jack Flaherty or a Michael Lorenzen of the past and see what we can do. So yeah, I'm fine with it. I've seen some people overreacting on Tigers Twitter. And as someone who's probably overreacted a little bit in zone right these last few weeks, I have to tell people in this particular case, I don't think it's worth overreacting on because this guy is a total meh 5th starter. He's going to probably get lit up some games. He's probably going to have a game here and there where he goes 6th inning and lets up 2 runs. And we're going to be like, all right, not bad. And we'll see how it goes. So, yeah, they make their first move. They gave away virtually, nothing from just a lower level prospect. And we'll kind of see how it goes.
Yeah.
A lot of big moves to come. You're assuming. A lot of big moves you're assuming are coming.
We hope.
We hope.
The big rumor right now, obviously with the Diamondbacks in town, is that one Eugenio Suarez will not have to leave Detroit after this series is over.
Yeah,
that seems to be the conversation. That seems to be the rumor. His people want it to happen. Scott has been cagey about it, but it seems like they want to make it happen.
Yeah, this is all jokes aside and all, over dramatic rants from myself aside. This is by far Scott Harris's most crucial trade deadline thus far as the president of the Detroit Tigers. We've seen him have an eye for talent for some guys who maybe looked like they were kind of given up on, the Tyler Holtons, Andy Ibanez, made a decent trade getting Matt Vierling. Brought in a Gleyber Torres and, has kind of resurrected his career. But we've yet to really see him go out and make a big trade to get that big name. So this is a big moment for Scott. Now, the interesting thing is I'm hearing kind of things that you're hearing in the sense of the Tigers, want to bring him in. The Diamondbacks want to make it happen. But then I'm also hearing things that Scott Harris is going to be more conservative at the deadline. And that I've also heard rumblings that all of their main top 5 prospects are off the table. So that'd be like McGonigal, Tyron Liranzo, Max Clark, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. My gut tells me they don't get Suarez, but I do hope that regardless if they get Suarez or not, that should not be the only move they make. They need bullpen help. Desperately need bullpen help. So that should honestly be the first priority, I'd say. I would like David Bednar from Pittsburgh. I've heard the asking price for him is kind of high based off all the articles I've been reading. But you've got to get some bullpen reinforcement because right now it's by far, don't get me wrong, these last 3 weeks, everything's been terrible with the Tigers. Bullpen, starting pitching, defense, offense, it's all been abysmal. But even prior to the recent 3-week slide, the one thing we were all in agreement was okay, heading into the All-Star break, they clearly need to get bullpen help. And that has not changed over the last 3 weeks or whatever. So bullpen help should still be the number one priority. And then, hey, if I could snap my fingers and make them, get Suarez without them giving up the entire farm, I would do it. I still think there's a world where you can do it. I think there's always this, big thing of you got to give up everybody. But look at, what Josh Naylor, the Diamondbacks and the Mariners just did making that trade. They traded, I think, it was 2 top 20 guys. It's not always going to be, the cream of the crop names in terms of prospect talent. Now, Josh Naylor's a big difference in player and overall haul than you get for Eugenio Suarez. The guy doesn't impact back immediately, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's been such a weird last 2-3 weeks for the Tigers, and then you encompass the last 24 hours with the nice win against Toronto. You lose Reese Olson. You make your first trade of the season. Parker's on the IL. Kreidler's back up. Ibanez is back up. There's just a lot going on right now. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more that this is the most consequential deadline that Scott Harris has had in his time with Detroit. And really, I think in his time as a general manager, this is his
him and Jeff Greenberg. Yeah.
First stops here. And so looking at what is going to happen here, one, I think that some of the Scott Harris is going to be a little conservative at the deadline. I think that potentially, we'll see how it plays out. Potentially is just Scott Harris trying to set the market a little bit, that let maybe the tone be, that the Detroit Tigers are not desperate despite this slide. It is still a 7-game lead in the division.
8.
We're at 8 right now. Great. Yeah. Love to hear that. Live update from Luke Chaconis. Live fact checking. No, we love to, we're still sitting, that's still a large lead in the division.
It is.
Obviously you can't do what you just did again this season, which is cough up almost 8 games of a lead. And so, but I think that the messaging is good, that you could have potentially, teams could have been calling Scott Harris with things that are things look like the whole house is on fire. I've got a hose. I'm going to need $1 million for this hose.
Right. Yeah.
And just to be that's not the We're not in that business right now. We're not concerned about that on that front. And I think everybody's going to say that their top 5 prospects are off the table until they're not.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. You get down to the deadline, if you, with the Yankees trading for Ryan McMahon, that eliminates them from the equation. And really, the 4 teams you kind of hear right now talking the most in the Suarez sweepstakes are the Cubs, the Tigers, the Mariners, and the Reds. Hilarious that 3 out of those 4 teams are all teams Suarez has played for in the past. I'd love to see the statistics on that, where the front running teams are all teams that he's already played for.
Yeah.
He was with Cincinnati for so many years. He started with Detroit, was with the Mariners for a brief stint, and now he might be going back to one of those 3.
Come back.
I actually think, and I think our good pal Sean Young may love to hear this, I have a feeling Suarez ends up with the Cubs. I could be totally wrong on that. My spidey senses lean a little bit that way. I guess, it just kind of comes back down to the haul that they get in return. But yeah, it's been a crazy few weeks, as a Tiger fan, as we were joking before we hit the record button and going live of, if we recorded this literally 72 hours ago, we probably would have gotten one of my best rants in recent years. I mean, I was living.
We would not have been able to do it live. We would have had to.
Correct.
That would have had to be a pre-record so that we could properly beat the show.
Yeah, but I think winning cures everything, and they only won 1 game. But you are 100% correct too, and this is the point I wanted to get back to. You can't. All right, so you just went on a bad where you let up essentially 7.5, 8 games, which is terrible. And the fact that Cleveland gained 8 games in like 15 days or whatever it was, is awful, and you can't afford for that to happen again. Hopefully it doesn't happen. But if you're maybe picking up where I'm going with this, looking at my name here, the Cleveland Guardians are in a little bit of trouble right now. Boys are a little bit maybe too hot at the table, so much it's starting to spill into the field. Emmanuel Clase, who just, life was altered by a gentleman by the name of Kerry Carpenter last fall. Now getting hot water at the table too, potentially, and maybe some sports betting. Who knows? But all we do know is that Emmanuel Clase is now suspended to the end of August. So that is without, being over dramatic again, that is a huge blow right now to a Cleveland team that was starting to gain some momentum. They, clearly closed the gap on the Tigers over the last couple of weeks. And now their all-star phenom closer is on the shelf till the end of August.
Well, you think about the last 15 days. 15 days ago, there was conversation that they might move Clase.
Mm-hmm.
That if they could get a haul, they might move him. They might call it a day. But now they're not going to be able to move him.
Mm-hmm.
And they're no longer going to be able to make the same kind of charge that they were making.
Yep. And so Dan Petrie just brought up a great point on the broadcast. He was saying, and assuming they're still in the race by the end of August, which we hope, knock on wood, that Cleveland is far out of the race again. But if they are, or even if the race is still where it's at, where they're 7 or 8 games out, and they can maybe make that last minute September push, you don't know what you're going to get from Clase after being on the shelf for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Because he can have no contact with teammates. He can't use facilities, anything like that. So outside of grabbing a buddy and going to the park and playing catch in his backyard, look
out every rec league in Cleveland, because Emmanuel Clase is coming into practice.
Hottest free agent for the next 4 weeks. You get him till August 31st. Help you and your softball buddies make a deep run. But yeah, so that's interesting. And then, it's fascinating. So the Twins obviously seem to be in sell mode, and I think there's gonna be more to come. Paddock's not gonna be the only guy getting dealt. Kansas City's interesting to me too, though, because they're right there with Cleveland. They're 8 or 9 games out of the division. So I mean, they're definitely not out of it by any means.
I think they're only like 4 or something out of the wild card.
Where I give Kansas City a lot of credit, and maybe the Tigers' recent slide had something to do with it. I don't know their game plan, but right now they could be so easy to just sell. But they just extended Seth Lugo. I believe they traded for Randall Grichuk. So this is a team that's still like, all right, we're going to keep making moves and figuring it out. And it's almost annoying at being a Tigers fan, because I'm like, here we are in first place, 15 games over 500, and we're just looking for some sort of action. And then the third place team, who's like 1 3-game losing streak away from really being out of this, is out there wheeling and dealing. And it's like, Scott, pick up the phone and get something going. But
call somebody.
Call someone. So, and he called someone today. They made a move, so you got to give him credit there.
Now, Luke, here's a thought I've had. This is a thought I've had since lunch. So let me tell you, I've really been
Love it.
focusing in on this.
Love it.
Scott says the top prospects are off the table.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an argument to be made that that is the case because if you're going to go to Tarek Skubal and try and get him to accept less money when you go to extend him than what either team in New York is probably going to offer, the LA Dodgers are going to offer, you want to be able to say, look, we have preserved the future. We're gonna go win a World Series this year. You'll have won your second Cy Young. And then now we are set up for the next 8 years to be competitive. And you can win multiple World Series in that time here.
Yeah.
Where you are loved, where you are
The face.
a legend, you are on the short list for statuary in the outfield.
Yeah, I would say right now he's maybe you would disagree, maybe outside of Aiden Hutchinson, but the face of Detroit sports right now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think that, yeah.
Or maybe Goff, but
yeah,
outside of that,
certainly of the sporting Mount Rushmore of Detroit, he is the Tigers representative.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. Yeah, that's a great question. That all stems back to this. How much money does Tarek Skubal want to make, and who does he want to really play for? Because I know it's such an easy thing to play the hypothetical game. Like if I was in his shoes, what would I do? But if I'm getting a $400 to $500 million contract, and we're assuming maybe that's what the Tigers are offering, maybe they're not. Who really knows? Man, Troy Melton is dealing tonight. That is, if this guy can step up, especially with Reese Olson going down for the year, this could be a huge, huge win. Finish that Pittsburgh start pretty strong last week and has just carried that into the second start against the Diamondbacks. Really, really promising to see. Going back to the hypothetical, if I'm offered hypothetically from the team that I love to play for, as much as Tarek Skubal says he loves to play for, I think we all believe that he loves to play for. Tigers offer me $450 million for 6 or 7 years. I'm taking it. Even if the Yankees are offering me $550 for 5, 6, 7 years. It just comes down to how much money he's going to make and where he's going to play. I know it sounds pretty elementary, but those are the facts. So We'll see. I mean, I believe Skubal that he wants to be a Tiger, borderline damn near for life. I just, he's got Scott Boras. He's a Scott Boras client. So I don't know. I hope, man. I was telling this to my dad the other day. We were talking, even when the Tigers were really struggling, and I mean, they still, they're only one game out of that misery. It's not like they're like on a 7-game win streak right now. But a couple of days ago when we were chatting, I was saying although the Tigers are losing and they were getting beat up by the Blue Jays, it's cool to see finally some other teams that is not the Yankees and not the Dodgers and not the Red Sox and not the Braves and not the Astros. Don't get me wrong. Some of those teams are still having really good years, but it's cool to see the Blue Jays. It's cool to see the Mariners. I like to see the Cubs. I mean, the Brewers are always pretty good. Reds are scrappy this year, so it's a nice change of pace a little bit. And I hope more of that continues. And Riley Green makes the catch with that Tom Selleck mustache of his. So I don't know. We'll kind of see what happens.
Yeah. Let's talk about Riley's mustache real quick, though. It looks great. He's obviously stuck with it now.
I mean, you gotta at least keep it until they lose inevitably. So hey, I like it. The mustache is kind of making a comeback on the team. Jake Rogers really started it a couple seasons ago. Jahmai Jones has got the stash. Riley's rocking the stash. And, let's see what Troy Melton does. Oh, just out of the reach of Glaber. Just a bit outside of Glaber's reach. This is a good Diamondbacks lineup. I think pitching is their biggest Achilles heel based off what I was hearing on the broadcast. It sounds like a bullpen is not their forte. But, damn, this was a good lineup. And keep in mind, they just had Josh Naylor up until a week ago. Suarez is hitting the ball. You got Ketel Marte. I mean, Corbin Carroll's awesome. This is, but they play in probably the toughest division in baseball in the NL West. You can make an argument, between Giants, Dodgers, Padres. It's tough to be fourth fiddle.
It's the NFC North of the MLB.
Well, I don't know if the NFC North is, You think the NFC North is the toughest division in football?
Yeah, this year I think it is.
You think?
Yeah, I'm not trying to derail us here and make this a football
That's okay.
podcast, but
We're live now. We can talk about anything. It's
but
football season.
I do think the NFC North is perhaps in one of those situations where it's maybe a little too good and they're all going to beat each other up too much, which might hurt them come playoff time.
Yeah, I feel like
literally.
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout out to our buddy Tom Solster. NFC West to me is always competitive between the Rams, the Niners, Seahawks, and then the Cardinals are sometimes scrappy, sometimes not. Yeah, I mean, that's how, I think about it. AFC sucks. got the Patriots, got the Jets. Yeah.
But just top to bottom, I don't think you like.
I don't
think you want to see any of the NFC North teams walking into your stadium.
I guess I'm just so used to being a shitty Bears fan.
Yeah,
where I'm like, I don't even take us seriously. So
I have.
It's hard for me.
I probably have higher hopes for the Bears than you do this year.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to some of my buddies back home about football and everything. It's the first year I'm not doing fantasy football since I was like 13. It's probably because the Tigers, with the exception of these last few weeks, being, excluded, they've been playing good baseball. So I really haven't thought much about football. But yeah, I mean, on paper, the Bears should be halfway decent this year, but I also thought they should have been halfway decent last year and the year before that. And they're just, the Bears have never fully and properly developed NFL quarterback. And
yeah, I mean, you had terrible coaching the last few years. So
yeah. I mean, pretty terrible. Yeah.
Now we'll see what Ben Johnson is like as a head coach versus an offensive coordinator when he can just be a mad genius fully.
Yep. He's got some fun piece, man. Troy Melton, hell of a start.
Yeah.
6 innings, no runs, really good. Man, that's encouraging. If they can have a guy like him, the Tigers need. Remember how last year, when everyone was dying and it was just Tarek Skubal and pitching chaos.
Yes.
Cater Montero kind of was like the Dark Knight who kind of came out of nowhere and was really serviceable. Unfortunately, that hasn't translated this year so much for Cater. But the Tigers need one of those type of guys. They need a guy who kind of comes out of nowhere. So whether it's Troy Melton or Sawyer Gipser-Long or if Cater somehow miraculously finds it again, that would be really, really crucial for the Tigers. A name I'd be curious to see if he comes up at all in the second half, and I have not heard his guy's name at all. Matt Manning. We haven't heard his name in forever.
No.
Last I heard they were using him in the bullpen in Toledo, and I heard he was kind of being hit and miss. No pun intended. But yeah, so I don't know. Maybe
those are most of the options when a pitcher throws a ball.
Yep, could balk.
Could balk. It's possible.
Yep.
It's entirely possible.
Yep.
It's entirely
pitch
possible.
clock violation. That's another option too.
Yep.
Which then usually results in a ball. So there you go, or a strike if it's on the batter. But yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, we'll see. I do think this is probably one of the weaker trade deadline in terms of names.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting side effect of the expanded wild card. I know I'm certainly not the first person to espouse this theory, but there's now so many teams that are like within reach enough.
Yeah.
That there's no middle ground sellers anywhere. Yeah. And the teams in the bottom have maybe one guy that anybody actually wants.
Yeah. Like I know the big name is with the Marlins, like Sandy Alcantara, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean he's not having a Cy Young season, that's for sure. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see. There's just not a lot of those big names.
Who from the Rockies do you want on your roster?
Yeah. Well, they already got rid of the biggest name, I think, in Ryan McMahon. So yeah. We'll see. All right.
So
let's see what Andy
suddenly
does.
there's no market there.
Andy Ibanez came into this game hitting 213. He is now hitting 229. So it's a pretty good day at the office when you almost raise your batting average 20 points. Take that.
And that's interesting because the trade deadline always was a big moment in the baseball season. But the NFL, it's not really a big moment in the
Mm-hmm.
NFL season. Some stuff happens, but it doesn't really affect. But that season, though long in calendar, short in games.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting twist in the changing of baseball to make it a little bit more consumer friendly.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know what the correlation is. I'll tell you this: I feel like if the Tigers do make a deal with getting a guy like a Suarez, or if they make some sort of big trade, I don't know who it's going to be, but we're going to see. I feel like a fairly big prospect or two
Mhm.
bundled with one of the guys on the current roster. And I don't know who that could be. I think potentially a guy who's not on the current roster, but is a decent name that could be dealt would be Jace Young. I think Justin Henry Malloy is another name where it's like you've kind of had because right now, especially for Jay Hen, and I love Jay Hen, and I don't know why right now Ryan Kreidler got a call up over Justin Henry Malloy. I really don't. Outside of maybe they want to give Kreidler another look because he pretty much got sent down end of April, early May, and Jay Hen had a little bit longer stint up here than Kreidler did. But some of those guys like Young, Malloy, they just haven't they just don't. There's just not a spot for them right now. That's just that's just the truth. It really is kind of the fact. And it's a bummer because I do feel like they almost feel to me like they're kind of going the route of the Daz Cameron, Derek Hills back in the early 2020s. Where I was like, well, can we just see if they're any good? And I feel like both those guys got like a 2-week tryout. And I was like, nope, they didn't do good. Send them out of the way. And obviously those guys, no disrespect, haven't amounted to, huge names. But I feel like Jace Young and Jay Hen have more upside than those guys do. But I feel like they're on the similar Tigers trajectory where it's kind of like, we want to give them a shot. But we're only going to give them like a 6-game shot. And if they don't produce, then we're just going to move on because we don't really see them part of the big picture.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up the top 30 prospects list. Here we go. And trying to figure out
Oh, Dylan.
Okay, Dylan.
Dylan with a big game. Man, that guy has just been a delight this season. Tigers up 5-0 in the bottom of the 6th. Just excellent to see. Oh, Eduardo, bet you wish you stayed in Detroit now, buddy. Too bad, so sad. Boom!
Yeah, I'm really trying to like looking at this list, who's the most likely of these prospects to see leave?
What about a guy like Hao-Yu Lee?
Yeah, that's kind of where I feel like that feels like the top of maybe Thayron Lorenzo.
I feel like his name was one that was is on the untouchable list, but I feel like if you're ranking the top 3, 4, or 5, I feel like he's at the bottom of that list. So
yeah, he's at 5 in MLB's rankings.
Yeah,
top 30 by team, and our catcher first base situation feels solved-ish for the next few years. I don't think that there's I don't anticipate a large need in either of those areas.
You're going to keep Dingler as your starting catcher moving forward, and Spencer Torkelson. I think we just all need to fully realize, and I think we all knew this after last season, Spencer Torkelson is never going to be this big 1-1 Pete Alonso type power hitter. But if you're looking for a guy who's going to hit 220 and hit 30-ish home runs and drive in 80 to 90 people and play so-so 50-50 defense at first base, he's the guy. And he is going to, I think he will be the guy in that sense.
Yep. And so of the guys, that's that spot's spoken for. Especially because his estimated time of arrival to Major League Baseball is 26. And next season. Are we going to have a spot on the roster for him in 2026? Maybe. Yeah, if you're going to start to move an untouchable guy, That feels likely. The other, obviously, Joe Supersenio.
Yeah.
Also in that untouchable list. Like those
I
seem
feel
like
like
the
he's
two
untouchable.
guys. Those are the two guys of the untouchable list that if we're gonna, they're touchable for certain guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's who it's going to be. I don't think we see McGonigal move. I don't think we see Max Clark move. I
No.
don't think we see Bryce Rayner move.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, I mean, like then obviously you get into Troy Melton, Hayu Lee.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Max Anderson
Mm-hmm.
sitting at 9. Ty Madden at 13.
That guy just can't stay healthy. He's just been banged up all year. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think right now. I mean, Troy Melton. I know he's only 2 starts into his major league career, and his first one didn't go great. But I think with Reese Olson going down, unless they go out and get another big pitcher, I think he's going to be sticking around. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I don't know what they're. Yeah, I could maybe see a package where it's like a 20 to 30 prospect package with Theron Liranzo, a Jace Young, and a Bo Brisky, or I don't know, something like that. And maybe because I don't know, just I don't know. There's a lot. Bo Brisky, his stock's pretty low, so maybe he's not the best example. But yeah, I don't know. Be curious to see. Oh, they're taking Melton going into the 7th. I mean, understandably so.
Let him go.
Pitch counts at 74. Bullpen has not been great. And they got 2 more games for an off day on Thursday. Oh, I don't like what you just did there. You must be ahead of me. I see Andy with the big throw. And there, again, kind of like I said, Spencer Torkelson, 50-50 defense. I don't know if that throw is there. Let's see. Could he have picked it? Tough play. Long throw. 1. Yeah, Torque should have had that.
I mean, if you're the 1-1 first baseman, you should have had it.
I just called him the last name. I never said I'd call him, which is hilarious because you know why? I was just thinking about it. I was like, I've done a good job of never calling Spencer Torkelson, almost like the he who shall not be named in Harry Potter. And now here live on this broadcast.
Well, here it is.
I that's like literally the first time in over a year I've called him by that last name.
It's live TV, folks. That's how you know.
Yep.
That's how you know it's live TV.
That's how you do it. That's hilarious.
All right, Luke, here's what I'm going to propose. We take this through this Tigers half of the 7th, and then we call it a show.
Absolutely.
So if you got anything else to say, make sure you get it out.
Get it out now, folks. Get it out now while you can. It's good to see Andy Abando's back. I tweeted out today. I know he had a really rough start to the season. Mm-hmm. And even his entry to Detroit, everybody was like, who the hell is this guy? But, I mean, what he, having that big hit last year, that Houston series, that is a Maglio Ordonez type hit in Tigers.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about that one forever.
Yeah. Yep. And obviously not as big as like the Maglio home run, but it's in that category, I would say, that stratosphere of kind of Tigers moments. So it was really nice. It's nice to see him back because I like him. I just like Andy Abando's too. He always looks like he's ready to like fight somebody. He's always up and moving. He's always up and moving, which is great.
Yeah, they got to keep him. I don't know what I was going to say, so go ahead.
I was saying when this game started too, you got to give a shout out to Jahmai Jones. The way this game started with that, I think Spencer Torkelson like bloop single error into center field. Jahmai Jones just kept on running, man. That got the Tigers on the board early here. See how Troy does working out of this.
Yeah, it's been so interesting during the losing streak because like running the bases hard and aggressive has been a defining factor of this Detroit Tigers team. And it's really hard to run the bases aggressively if you can't get on base. Yeah,
that 3-week stint. I mean, I know it's always easy to be like, that's the worst Tigers baseball I've ever seen. And we've seen some pretty bad Tiger baseball over these last 10 years. But
a tough statement to make.
In a game of what have you done for me lately, that most recent skid was pretty unbearable to watch. Pretty unbearable. now we're.
It was to. I mean, it was to the point that I stopped paying attention to the team, and since we started this podcast, have not given up on this team in the same way that you have in the past.
I'm good for it at least once or twice a season. Come on, let's turn that here. Come on. Nice.
I was going to say, I have good news for you, Luke.
Good. And we've talked. I feel like I talk about him every episode that we do, but I don't think he's with the team next year unless something crazy happens. But I have so thoroughly enjoyed Gleyber Torres' time as a Detroit Tiger, and assuming he's gone next season, he will be missed. It'd be great if they could get Colt Keith to play some third base, because then you got your infield. You got Javi at short, Colt at third. You could then go out and bring Gleyber in for another year or so. Torkelson at first, Dingler. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see Troy Melton get out of this here and go 7 scoreless against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Oh, where did that pitch miss? Good God. Whew.
Yeah, we need some robot umpires.
My goodness.
I'm having a hard time not tapping my head if I'm Troy Melton.
Yeah. I wonder if there's been any young guys who've come up from AAA that when they're at bat, like if they've almost inadvertently wanted to do that because last night I was in Sandusky, Ohio, and now I'm at the big leagues and I can't do that. And that will probably put an end to Troy Melton's night. What a hell of a start. 7 innings, no runs, incredible work. Parents in attendance tonight. Put his team in a great position to win. Offense backed them up. Really good stuff. That is a phenomenal. Again, like I said a little while ago, if he can be the kind of guy who kind of steps up, especially with Reese Olson being out, this pitching rotation has been banged up with Flaherty, Casey Mize, Kader Montero, SGL. Scooble's really been your only savior this season. If Troy Melton can even do this at a fraction that he did pitch tonight throughout the remainder of this second half, that solves a lot of problems. And that's a hell of a start. And you know what? You got to give credit where credit's due. Jack Flaherty pitched his ass off yesterday against Toronto. So again, maybe I need to see it more than once with Jack because he's been really kind of hit or miss this year. Again, no pun intended. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be. I hope they've turned it around. Obviously, pivotal week heading to the deadline here on Thursday. They got to rattle off a few wins just to get some confidence back in the fan base. Yep.
I tweeted out yesterday, that's one win. Do that about 6 or 7 more times, and we'll call the last few weeks square. And I think that's fair. I need like a good, I don't need necessarily a win streak, but out of your next 10, I need you to win about 7 of them.
Yeah, I need like a couple sets of 10 games where we're above 500 in them.
Yeah, and they're working on them because they're going to, Arizona's, struggling a little bit. They're kind of in sell mode, but they go to Philly this upcoming weekend, and Philadelphia is just not going to roll over and die. And especially playing, at Philly, tough environment. So
because we don't play the Guardians again until September.
They have 6 games left in September. Yep.
And I would like those games to be meaningless.
Oh yeah, I am hoping selfishly that I have tickets right now for Tigers Marlins the second weekend of September. I'm hoping if we haven't clinched at that point, it's like magic number is down to like 5.
A little selfishly, Luke, I hope that we have clinched just a little bit earlier in that week when they're in New York.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So that I can be in Yankee Stadium when the Detroit Tigers clinch.
Yeah, they're holding their breath right now with Judge. I mean,
yeah. Here's my last conspiracy theory here.
Okay.
If
go for it,
the Yankees miss the playoffs, is that finally enough for Aaron Boone to get fired?
I don't know. Aaron Boone is to the Yankees what John Harbaugh is to the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, both they're both good, managers, head coach, however you want to call it, and they've had some really good teams. And the only differences between Boone and Harbaugh is that John Harbaugh has actually won with his team, whereas Aaron Boone has never won a World Series coaching with his team for his team. So
obviously he has the job because he has won a World Series with
correct.
his team.
Correct. That's probably the biggest check on his resume that got him into the job in the first place. But yeah, I don't know. He strikes me as one of those guys who just might be around for like how many years has he been with the Yankees?
Too many.
He's not double digits, but he's like what, 7 or 8, I'd say.
That sounds right. I mean, the COVID stuff makes time super wibbly wobbly because we're already 5 years past the pandemic. So
he started with the Yankees in 2018. So 8. Yeah. This is his 8th season. Yeah, this is his 8th season.
The energy of the Diamondbacks right now is that they have given up on this game.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, as we know all too well, to quote Taylor Swift. I don't know if that's really a quote. I just know that's one of her songs, I believe. Nice. We know how it feels this time of year to be like, well, any day now, this guy's gone. Any day now, Jack Flaherty's gone. Any day now,
I don't really want to get hurt doing something for this team because I might move to a contender. So
yeah, I mean, you want to talk about someone who just had truly reversal of fortune. You got Ryan McMahon from the Rockies to the Yankees. I mean, I know the Yankees are still fighting for a playoff spot and all that. There's still definitely got some work to be done. But I mean, talk about going from a Super 8 up to the Ritz-Carlton. I mean, truly, it doesn't get much better than that. Yeah, it's pretty awesome for him. This is a guy who I think we haven't seen him really break out yet, Colt Keith. We've seen some really promising things, but man, I do hope, Colt. I mean, he's here contract wise. Let's see, did Melton give a little love to the crowd? He gave him some love.
Give him some love. That's going to end the 7th.
That's going to end the 7th. Colt grounds into a double play. Tigers still lead 5-0 heading into the 8th inning.
And that's going to do it for us on this episode. We'll be back sometime post-trade deadline to give our early overreactions to what Scott did. We're usually pretty good about taking both sides of that ball, so we'll try and do it on that point.
Yeah, see how it goes.
And we will hopefully also be on the other side of a few Tigers, maybe not full streaks, but like the Tigers actually playing, better than 1-9 in their last 10. And so we'll be here, folks. Catch us live. Follow us on the socials. Luke's always ranting on Twitter. So go follow him over there. Luke, we'll talk to you soon, bud.
See you guys. Go Tigers.